Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. Clear your throat before the show starts. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. You know our show, Eye on the Valley. It is brought to you by SCVI and iLead Schools. We're a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've also got a fully accredited online school. That's right, fully WASC accredited kindergarten through 12th grade online curriculum. Different from homeschool, this is a full online program. But speaking of homeschool, we've got a burgeoning homeschool program as well in iLead Exploration. For more information on any of our schools, classroom-based, virtual, homeschool, whatever you'd like, visit us at ileadschools.org. ileadschools.org for more information on any one of our schools. So, we've got our eye on education in Santa Clarita and across the nation. But like the show says, we keep our eye on the valley as well, bringing you everything you need to know about what's what here in the valley. And we do it all while giggling, poking around, having some fun. If you know me, you know that I won't do anything unless I can have some fun while I'm doing it. So we always have a good time. Gets me into a little bit of trouble, but that's the spice of life. You know what I mean? So how y'all doing? You good? I'm doing great. You know, schools are wrapping up the school year. The Heart District has held its graduations for the year. I'm seeing 6th grade and 8th grade promotion celebrations are being posted. I actually had the honor of attending the iLead Agua Dulce 8th grade promotion yesterday afternoon. It was a beautiful ceremony out there in the breeze and the trees of beautiful Agua Dulce as our amazing 8th grade class stepped up into high school. What a great group of kids. Just kindness. Kindness was what really rang out from that group of 8th graders graduating from 8th grade at iLead Agua Dulce. And, a lot of those kids are able to stay right there in Agua Dulce for high school. That's right. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, Lisa, the director at iLead Agua Dulce, announced that they're opening their high school next year with 9th grade. And speaking of graduations, tonight SCVI will hold its graduation at COC's Cougar Stadium. If you've never been to an SCVI graduation, you really don't know what you're missing. I know every graduation is special for the graduates and their families, but I'm serious. I've been to SCVI graduations where I haven't really known anybody graduating and still left, with just track marks down my cheeks from the tears. It's a special, special moment. Every one of them is an incredibly personalized special event. And while this year, for obvious reasons, only students and very, very close family will be given tickets, you can watch SCVI's graduation via live stream. You can watch it at s'mores.com/N5SB8. That's s'mores.com/N5SB8. It's like s'mores.com. You know what? It's just one s'more. Not s'mores, just one s'more. Sorry, Patty. S'more.com, just one. And then it's like a firehouse softball league, right? Norwalk 5, Santa Barbara 8. S'more.com/Norwalk 5, Santa Barbara 8. S'more.com /N5SB8. I should probably stop right now. Anyways, I'm so glad that the kids are actually getting to graduate this year. The virtuals and the drive-thrus last year, while they were necessary, it just didn't cut it. I know so many graduates from last year that still, are struggling with the fact that they just didn't get to graduate last year. So I'm so glad that families are going to be able to see their kids walk across the stage and get their diplomas this year. So congratulations to all of you graduates out there from kindergarten to college. Great job. And to all of my teacher friends, you made it. Man, it has been a year or so, but you guys did it. You pulled off 3 semesters of the pandemic academic pressure cooker. Great jobs. So this weekend, if you're out and about and you come across a teacher, buy them a drink. They need it. On today's big show, we've got some of the Valley's best and most experienced educators. Today's show is going to be all about education. Some amazing things going on in our Valley that we're going to be talking about. In just a moment, we'll be talking to Renee Marshall. If you remember Renee, she's a great friend of the show, and she helped provide some tremendous insight and guidance to teachers, schools, and families throughout the pandemic. We'll also be talking to Dr. Omar Torres from College of the Canyons. He'll update us on COC's plans for the fall and everything going on at their campus. And then we'll end the show like we do with some fun and frivolity with Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. So, we're keeping our eye on the Valley. We're keeping our eye on you. So let's do it. My first guest today, Renee Marshall, education expert, consultant, community leader, and education advocate, has quickly become renowned across the state of California and beyond for her deep understanding of a myriad of educational topics, including teacher preparation, humanizing learning, and reimagining education. Renee has a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in education and teaching from UC Santa Cruz. She's a banana slug. She earned an additional master's in ELPS, that is Educational Leadership and Policy Studies, from CSUN. Renee has been supporting California community colleges since 2004. She served as both faculty and as an administrator while at College of the Canyons. And in 2019, Renee started a consulting business of her own, Renee Marshall Education, as a vehicle to support both community college and K through 12 educational systems. Because she's bad like that, Renee has been honored with an Outstanding Educator Award, the PTA Golden Apple Service Award, and as one of Santa Clarita Valley's top 140 under 40. She serves as the vice president of the Santa Clarita Valley Education Foundation and is proud of the work she does to support TK through 12 education and the California Community College teacher preparation programs. Renee Marshall has dedicated 25 plus years to the field of education and has called Santa Clarita home since 2001. Renee, you got to talk now because I'm out of breath. I'm all out of breath. Wow.
Yeah, I've been kind of doing some education stuff for the last 25 years, haven't I?
Well, and you're still quite young and early in your career, and you've got so much experience and accolades under your belt so far. So you're an amazing educator.
I'm 47 so far, but I got a lot more to do in this lifetime. That is for certain.
I love it. You are always in turbo. So, Renee, like I said, we're getting ready for the summer break, and we're excited to kind of be pulling out of the pandemic. It seems like things are sort of returning to normal. So as teachers and students and families, we've been through a lot in the last year and a half, right? At the onset of the pandemic, you and I discussed the challenges and the great opportunities that lie before us as we were heading into this thing, right? We talked about the possibilities
Absolutely.
that we could take out of this. So now, as we're turning the corner and pulling out of this thing, what's your assessment? How do you think we did, and what do you think we learned about education these past 15 months?
I think we did the best that we could do because we were faced with a worldwide pandemic, and it's not like anybody had that in their toolbox beforehand.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think we did the best that we could do. I think what we need to realize, though, is we're coming into fall, and everybody's so excited because it's the new school year. We're going to be able to be face-to-face. People really believe that education is going to become what it used to be. And the reality is the education that was is not the education that will be. It is time to reimagine education. In the last 15 months, we've had the chance for parents and families to see a very different sense of what education entails now. You know what I mean? And what it really takes to truly learn and for somebody to truly be educated. It used to be that, like, I think about when I was an elementary school teacher, and I'd have maybe like 5 or 6 parents that would volunteer in the classroom, and, they always had a really good sense of everything that was going on. They knew where their kid was. They knew what gaps their child had, and they were really like a team partner, and no disrespect to parents who can't volunteer. I'm a working mom. I know it's very hard to be able to take off time in order to go into a classroom and volunteer.
Yeah.
But in the last 15 months, every single parent has been in the classroom for the first time ever, right?
Yeah.
They understand what it's like to be a teacher. Parents are now co-constructing education with teachers. It used to be like education was something that happened, and parents were more like non-active participants in it.
Sure.
And that's not what's going to be moving forward. We're going to see more parent voice and more kind of louder parent voice than we've ever seen. Another thing too, Matt, one of the hardest but best things that came out of the last 15 months is just understanding the equity issues and, how things are not all the same for every student. I think about, I'm in the community college world, and we held a conference in May. I had community college students showing up to workshops, holding their babies on Zoom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're like, wait a second, that's a different situation for that student versus an 18-year-old who's coming to a college. Like, it's suddenly your eyes are opened up so differently. And Bettina Love talks about this. I don't want to, we talk about reimagining education, but Bettina Love is breaking this open right now. Why did we need the pandemic to force all these things to happen that should have happened before? Like for years, we've talked about technology. How do we, the tech divide, right? All of a sudden there's a pandemic. Wow, we got laptops in every single kid's hands in the state of California. Why did it take a pandemic for that?
And mobile hotspots and companies started giving free Wi-Fi.
And free Wi-Fi. Well, and think about standardized testing. For years, we've been talking about the need to change standardized testing. Guess what? The pandemic came. We just got rid of it. We're like, oh, districts, do whatever assessment you need to do. Do it. We trust you. We trust you, districts. Do what you need to do during the pandemic. So here's my question. Why are we going to bring all these things back that we now have made changes with? Do we really want education to go back how it was before the pandemic? Or do we need to take what we've learned in the last 15 months and really, truly reimagine what education is for families?
So, Renee, that's a really good question. And I was going to ask you, what is it going to be like? But let me kind of turn that question on its head. It sounds like you and I both agree that education should change, but we are kind of running the risk of going back. And look, to a certain degree, I get it, right? Families just want to go back to the comfort. They want to go back to the familiar. They want to get their lives back to normal. But when we're talking about some of the things that have needed change in education for the last couple of decades, honestly, what is it going to take in order for us to grab onto some of these changes and make them take root? Do you know what I mean? What is it gonna?
Totally.
What are we gonna need to do to help continue to drive this sort of revolution that was brought on by the pandemic?
Matt, I'm 100% with you on this because I think about right now, one of the biggest things that everyone's talking about is social emotional health.
Yes.
And, 15 years ago, there were groups of us talking about social emotional health and how do we embed it in the education system. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, wow, we now need to be looking at that. Well, that was not just for the pandemic. From here out, social emotional health absolutely will need to be at the forefront of what we're doing with kids, and what we're doing with our college students and what we're doing with all students in California. I'm going to be totally honest, Matt. I can't wait to see who shows up to school this fall because I think we're making an assumption that if we go back, suddenly everybody's going to show up. And one of the things that the pandemic has told us, if we don't have options and flexibility, we're going to see different schools and districts lose populations. I love at the beginning of the show that you were talking about iLead and SCVI. And from the moment SCVI was created, it talked about social emotional growth. 15 years ago, we were talking about this. Social emotional growth, individualized learning plans, putting kids at the forefront, developmentally appropriate curriculum, all these great things. And at the beginning of the show, you talked about we've got face-to-face model. We've got a homeschool model. We've got an online model. Some of our schools and districts are pulling back to 100% face-to-face and not offering a lot of options moving forward. And I think when schools and districts do not offer options, I think they're going to run into some issues in terms of their attendance and the people that show up in fall. So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. The shifts have to happen, Matt, or else parents aren't going to enroll their kids. They're going to start looking for all sorts of other options because suddenly you realize after being online for a year, you go, oh my gosh, look what's available. I can do all these, my kid can be involved in all these other things. So I think education will forever be changed by what's happened in the last 15 months. And anybody who tries to make it like it was before is going to run into very big issues.
Well,
this is an opportunity.
You do bring up an interesting point because it's been in the news recently. Our local high school district, which is a phenomenal award-winning district, losing students. Our elementary school districts are losing students, and so the question is, where are those kids going? Yeah, some are moving out of state, but not that many. They're going elsewhere.
I agree.
They're
People
going
always
elsewhere.
say they're moving out of state, and they're not all moving out of state.
Right.
That's not true.
So they're going to private schools, they're going to homeschool programs, they're going to other virtual programs because while the pandemic and distance learning was tough, some kids really caught on. We saw, for example, a lot of those
Yes.
quieter kids, those introverts, boy, they really bloomed, and they found kind of their format where they could really grow. Other kids just enjoyed the flexibility of it, and they're looking for those. Uh, they're looking to continue something similar. But here's the thing, Renee. I also work very closely with a local school district. The
Hmm.
state is really pushing school districts and seat-based charters to get the kids back on campus. They're limiting the options that the districts have to offer, and our districts in this area they're working to be real creative, but they still have only limited opportunities. Um, it's really
I'm
interesting.
worried about that, Matt, because
Yeah,
guess what Department of Ed does not control? Our private schools,
right.
right? So let's talk about which new private schools are coming to our town. Let's talk about, I mean, I love that you gave the example of Eileen Agua Dulce.
Hmm.
How strategic to grow and start the ninth grade this year. I don't know if that was in a master plan 5 years ago or if that plan was pushed forward due to the pandemic, but I understand that there's, things are rigid from Department of Ed. I think that we'll see some flexibility as things roll out and conflicts start happening,
I
if
certainly
you know
hope
what I
so.
mean.
I do because
Yeah.
we're starting to see in Sacramento that they're starting to become a little bit more aggressive again towards those independent study, those homeschool programs that really did work so well during the pandemic. And I think you're right. I think if we're not careful, it may end up in a massive push to privatize the education here in California,
Yep.
which would
Yep.
be really sad because we do education pretty well. We just need to keep moving the ball forward, not going backwards.
Absolutely. Well, and in Santa Clarita, oh my gosh, how lucky are we? You look at the
Mm,
Hart District. I mean, they have so many schools that are award winning and, great, great things. But if we don't offer what the public wants, there's going to be a mismatch. And so now that the public or parents have seen all these different options, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And so many education systems saw dips this
right.
past year. Our community college system across the state saw 11% decline in students that showed up during the pandemic. So we all have to be looking at, okay, where are the students? Like once fall comes, I'm curious to see what the numbers are going to be like, I will tell you, though, it's going to be interesting because in addition to parent voice, we're going to have louder student voice as well. I mean, I have 2 high school students right now, and one of my students said, so what are the options for next year, Mom? And I said, oh, well, your option is you get to go back 5 days a week, or you can do like this, other I think it's Learning Post or something like that. They have like one offline option or online option.
Mm,
And my son was like, oh, so I have to go 5 days? I can't go maybe like 3 days a week or 2 days a week and then do 2 days virtually? And I'm like, that's not even on the table. And he goes, oh, that's such a shame. I really enjoyed going part-time to campus and part-time learning from home.
yeah, and there are programs out there that are offering that.
Yep.
There are programs. Our homeschool program at SCVI and iLead learned the value of kids coming in for twice a week check-ins, 3 time a week
Yep.
check-ins, and then working independently. And when it's done right, it's actually much more effective. The same way businesses found, they were scared at the pandemic. We're sending all our employees home and they're not going to work. They found their employees worked more hours, they worked more efficiently, they were more productive. We're seeing that when it's managed right, education can be the same way. Wow.
Absolutely. We need to trust people. We've moved away from trusting. We need
Hmm.
to go back to trusting. And we also need to realize that, like, education is not just about teachers disseminating the information to kids. Education is alive.
Yeah.
It's a process where we can co-construct with parents and students what the education experience should look like. And one of the things I really would love to push across the entire state, and I was actually talking to a researcher for Berkeley about this last week, I think we need individualized learning plans for every single child from the moment they step into public education.
Well,
So from TK on, or if we're going to make education for 3-year-olds now too, which is what
yep.
it's looking like in California, we should be able to stop and say, Matt, okay, let's look at you as a person. Let's look at all these different areas, not just academic, because guess what? We don't have to memorize everything anymore. The way our education system is created, it doesn't make sense with how the technology we have at our fingertips now. And so we need to find a way to match our resources to creating new systems of educating and new opportunities of educating.
You're absolutely right, and you teed me up perfectly for a little plug for SCVI and iLead Schools. For the last 13 years, we've been doing just that. Not only every single child, TK through 12, but every employee as well, every teacher, every classified staff person, every secretary, every custodian is on an ILP. We're all setting goals. We're all growing as individuals. This morning, we're talking to educational expert and consultant Renee Marshall. When we get back, we'll talk about what schools need to be doing moving forward, and even more importantly, what we need to be doing for our kids to help them recover from this pandemic as they head back to school. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley, and you're listening to your hometown station, KHTS.
If you need help at home or at the office, call Made For You. Made For You is a locally owned, bonded, and licensed cleaning service with over 20 years of experience. All employees are vetted for your protection. No need to buy products or equipment. The Made For You staff comes complete with everything needed to make your home or office cleaner than ever. Hire Made For You one time, as needed, or an ongoing basis. No room is off limits. Laundry and ironing services are also available. Call Made For You for a free estimate. 255-2922. That's 255-2922. Experience luxury senior living at Oakmont of Valencia, Oakmont's brand new community in Santa Clarita. At Oakmont of Valencia, residents will enjoy 5-star amenities, including state-of-the-art movie theaters, spacious custom-built apartment homes, and sweeping views of the valley, all close to shopping, restaurants, and medical centers. Enjoy resort-style living, professional concierge services, a luxurious salon and day spa, and world-class dining. At Oakmont of Valencia, you'll embrace retirement in style. For details, visit oakmontofvalencia.com.
When you think about your next place, maybe even your forever place, are you hearing more of this and less of this? Introducing 5 Point Valencia, a vibrant new community coming to the Santa Clarita Valley. A place with parks, trails, and fresh architecture, all tuned to the way people want to live today. New homes for all, with prices to match, from the low 400,000s to over $1 million. Learn more at valencia.com.
When you look at your child, you see so much. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. A little leader growing to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make the world better. At SCVI, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free TK through 12 charter school provides boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a learning program customized just for your child. Today, that means empowering your child to bring strengths and passions to the distance learning environment. Our approach keeps your child and family in step while online, inspiring your learner to keep growing without missing a beat. At SCVI, your child will find even more ways to grow with projects and activities in STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. With the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, SCVI produces graduates who excel at top universities and in life. For enrollment information or to learn more about our distance learning program, visit ileadsantaclarita.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Santa Clarita Valley residents now have greater access to the excellent physicians and high-quality medical services for which Providence Holy Cross is known. Providence Holy Cross Health Center in Santa Clarita features state-of-the-art cancer and imaging technologies, as well as board-certified physicians in a variety of medical specialties. Quality and compassion from a healthcare provider you can depend on. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING or visit us at providence.org.
My dad is the best plumber ever. Plumbing by Kurt.
It's been quite a few years since I recorded that commercial with my father, and although my voice has changed, one thing hasn't. My dad is still the best plumber ever. Over the years, Plumbing by Kirk has taken care of Santa Clarita and all their plumbing issues, including clogged drains, running toilets, and so much more. Plumbing emergencies? Not a problem. He and his team are a pro at those too. Call now for estimates on new drain installations, old drain replacements, and water heaters. 263-6519 or log on to plumbingbykirk.com. My dad is the best plumber ever.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. We're talking this morning with Renee Marshall, educational expert and consultant. Renee, we talked a little bit before the break. Well, we talked actually quite a bit before the break about kind of that potential, right? I feel like we are truly a social science experiment, and I feel that potential energy in education. We're kind of on this precipice where we have such great potential that lies before us, but we've got to take advantage of it. So as schools and school districts are, well, heading off for the summer, but you know that anytime a school heads off for summer, plans are already in the works for the following school year. So we're gearing up for next school year. So how do you think schools are going to have to shift in order to succeed going forward? Because we have great opportunity, but with that opportunity also lies the opportunity not to seize it, right? So
yeah,
how do you think we're going to have to shift to succeed moving forward? And do you see a model out there for what schools can become?
Ooh, tricky question on the second part there. In terms of the major shifts, I think we need to be thinking of a couple things at the forefront. Number one, flexibility in all that we do. Mm-hmm. If we're going to stay student-focused, we need to be, I know like policies and procedures, we live by them, but we really need to stay student-focused and make sure that we are increasing flexibility throughout the year, especially not just at the beginning of the year for next school year, but also at midpoints. So that way there's options for families. I think it's really important, too, that we're looking at what type of learning options are available and seeing what's offered in the district that your children attend, plus also at their school site, but realizing if what you're being offered is not right, knowing to look outside of it for other options. Like, we want to know what schools are holding cohorts, which ones are doing synchronous learning, asynchronous learning, hybrid learning. We need to know homeschool. We just need to know all the different models that are available and who is offering them and allowing people to move where they need to go. That's something that we don't have a lot of flexibility usually, but like, for instance, if there's one district locally that's offering something that another district is not able to offer for one reason or another, how about having some discussion about flexibility between districts? Because a lot of times we don't move people between districts unless it's kind of an extreme case, but when it comes to somebody's learning options, that should be the most extreme of cases, Another thing, too, in terms of the major shifts, I think that now that parents have seen what is possible in education, I think they're going to demand more from education. I don't see that as a negative. I always was a co-constructor of education with the parents in my classroom when I was a teacher, but I think that we're going to see, just a lot more in terms of parent voice and choice within education. Now, in terms of a model, that's a tricky one, because here's what I found, Matt. It looks like I haven't seen like a one-stop shop for everything. Okay. It really looks like there's bits and pieces of good happening in a lot of districts and a lot of school sites. I will go back to, SCVI and iLead because, as we said earlier, almost 15 years ago when we were planning the school, we talked about having all of these things available 15 years ago. Having options, having flexibility. And I know that, I've never said that iLead and SCVI is the perfect school. I don't think a perfect school exists. But if we're looking at a model that offers multiple options, I think the iLead system and network of schools really could be a model for other schools and school districts to look at in terms of going, oh, wow, they're letting kids on 2 days a week. What does that look like? Let's talk about the programming side. I think we need to move into, one of the things that frustrates me in our education system is our traditional schools and our charter schools tend to get put into two categories. And I know it's because we're all fighting for the same funding, and I know that money is the origin on that. But what if we could put all of our schools together where we start talking across types of schools? Imagine if there was a Santa Clarita Education Advisory Council that included everybody. You know what I mean? Included our private schools, included TK through 12, our community college partners. And I know there are some advisory teams that come together like this, but what if there was actual, hey, what's working at your site? What's the programming look like? How much is it costing you to make that happen? And then how do we work together to either make sure that all schools can have these options available, or they could say to the families, okay, this isn't working for you. Here's 5 other options in Santa Clarita that might be a better fit for your family. Instead of working against each other, what if we work together for student success?
What a beautiful thing, because you're right. We are living in a time of school choice, right, where parents can more freely than ever before in our history move their kids from one school, one program to another. And the biggest hurdle to that is parental information. So, what if you went to your local neighborhood school and said, this is who my kid is, this is what we're looking for as a family, and that school said, you know what, you can find that down the street, around the corner, across the neighborhood, and we just work together for what's best for kids. That's amazing. It's funny, when you were talking about that, Renee, I got to thinking about the restaurant community here in Santa Clarita. We've got a lot of restaurants here in Santa Clarita. We've got a lot of fabulous restaurants. But it's funny, I'll go to one restaurant one night and I'll see the owner or general manager of another restaurant eating there. There's not that sense of animosity between them. They know that there's a finite number of people that are going out for dinner on Friday nights, that they've found kind of that, what do we call it, homeostasis, right? They found that balance where there is enough for everybody, and we can work together, and we can all offer great products, different products, so that it is a matter of, what does this diner need? Now let's shift back to education. What does this student need, and where can they find it? And, if something's working in the private educational realm and we can bring it to our charter school, our district school, great. If not, we're not going to open that at our school, but we'll freely refer back and forth. That shouldn't be too hard, would it, Renee?
It really wouldn't. It really shouldn't be that hard. But since we're always competing for ADA and FTEs, we're always competing for the money that ties to the person and the enrollment. It makes it as if we are not against each other, but it's like we work against each other, not intentionally. And
right.
It's like there has to be a way to streamline this. And it'd be interesting because honestly, if we all started working together, and then if you did a data analysis of like the students that were supposed to be at Saugus that ended up here, and the students that were supposed to be at Eiley that ended up here, and the students, I bet you it would balance out pretty closely in terms of the average daily attendance and in terms of the financial piece of it. So, I know, talk about a big social experiment. That would be a huge social experiment, but it would be fantastic to bring education together. And I think moving forward, we're going to have to. I just think we're going to have to, because we look at traditional schools right now, and so much of what's at the tip of what they're doing. We want to bring social emotional learning. We want to bring project-based learning, individualized learning plans. Why would you start new when there's other schools in town that have been doing these elements for years? Like when we can work together and learn from each other and learn from our mistakes in addition to our successes, it just simplifies the process for everybody. So how do we work together moving forward? That's a huge question, and it's something that we need to figure out.
You're absolutely right. I think you're onto something, and you and I need to have a longer conversation off the air with a bunch of other people to get this moving. I know immediately people are going to do what we always do, right? There's so much regulation around educational funding. There's so many things that come out of Sacramento that are out of our control. But Renee, I'm committed to this. I know you are too. And my bosses, their question isn't ever, can we do this or can't we do this? It's how can we get this done? So yeah.
I'm meeting with some policy people on Monday, Matt. So if there's any specific topics related to education and policy that you want me to have a conversation about, I can do it on Monday. So, that's part of it too. If you have an opportunity to have a voice, I don't make policy. I wish I did. I'm not to that point yet in my career. But if I can work with people who are pushing policy and who have that legislative pull, then that can contribute in a different way. So if at any time there's, golden nuggets we need to drop into people's ears, let me know.
Yeah, I think the question that I would ask is, how can we afford schools? We know we need accountability, right? We've seen some things coming out of, the far south of our state recently that schools do need accountability, especially when it comes to the, honestly, billions of dollars being spent in education in California. But how can we still maintain accountability while providing schools, especially school communities. We're not talking about providing a little something extra for charter schools or providing a little something extra for districts. I'm talking about communities, exactly what you're talking about, right? How can we provide school communities the flexibility to do what's best for kids? So, Renee, we talked about what schools have learned and what teachers have learned from the pandemic and what the hope is moving forward. Let's do what we always need to do, get our focus back on kids. What do you think our kids have learned from this whole experience? Because, they've been through so much, and even when we say, oh, my kid hasn't learned any algebra, our kids have learned a lot. What have they learned socially? What have they learned academically? What have they learned about themselves? What have they learned about the world during this experience?
Well, I mean, I think one thing pretty awesome to acknowledge is our children have learned how to survive a worldwide pandemic. They survived something that killed millions of people. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
And so let's say to them, wow, we're so glad you're healthy. And kids are resilient, and that's one of the things that we've learned from this experience. Our children are so much more resilient than often some of the parents that we work with, right? What else have we learned? We've learned to slow down. Children and teenagers have learned to delay gratification. They've learned to wait. They've learned patience. I got to tell you, Matt, my 14-year-old son, the entire pandemic has been like, oh, I can't wait till the day when we can go back and I can ride roller coasters. We live next to Magic Mountain. Yeah. Roller coasters it's part of his life. Yeah. I can't wait till the day. He talked about it for so many months. He did research on everything that they were building and what was going on. And you should have seen what happened the day that he got to go to Magic Mountain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
After waiting for 15 months. It was like going to the amusement park, nourished his soul. So that waiting, that patience, that delayed gratification, slowing down, being with our family, the importance of family.
Yes.
Guess what? In the pandemic, when you had nothing else, many of us still had family.
Yeah.
And so I think many, many good things have come out from this experience. And I think our kids will, reflect on it in many different ways looking forward. Some will look at this as a moment of trauma for them. Some will look at the pandemic as a moment of disengagement. But many are going to look at the pandemic and realize kind of what they gained from this 15-month pause.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Now, Renee, we are up against a little bit of a break, but I don't want to let you go without talking about a really cool project that you're working on with the Boys and Girls Club. Can you give us a little bit of a teaser? Can you tell us what you're doing with Matt over at the Boys and Girls Club?
Actually, it's so funny you say that, Matt. I'm actually not working on a project with Boys and Girls Club right at this minute.
Somebody
we collaborate pretty frequently, and so I thought it'd be fun to bring Matt on from Boys and Girls Club just because we're always talking about education on the side. And so I apologize that I didn't say that we officially don't. But you know what, Matt Nelson, let me tell you, let's think about what we can collaborate on. We did peace bags last year, and so maybe we'll have a chance to bring something else back. I got to give a shout out though, Boys and Girls Club. I was so glad to see that they put the Pride Ally flag out. I thought that was so wonderful this month. We all got to stand up for what we believe in, and especially for those of us that are, supporting children and families. We want to make sure that we're inclusive. And so big shout out to Boys and Girls Club for doing that, for sure.
Absolutely. You heard it here, folks. Educational expert Renee Marshall currently has nothing in the works with the Boys and Girls Club of Santa Clarita. Renee, you always have such tremendous insight. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. And you and I are going to get this organization, this foundation, whatever it is, up and running here real soon. You have a great weekend. And, I was going to say have a wonderful summer, but let's be in touch before the summer's end.
That sounds great, Matt. And enjoy having Omar on today. I think it'll be awesome to hear what he's going to say about College of the Canyons. It's such a good place, and so I'm excited to listen to the rest of the show.
Absolutely. Omar Torres from COC is coming up next hour. We've got some fun tidbits for you coming up just around the corner. You're listening to SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. We will be right back. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Experience Frontier Toyota's all-new hot and exciting Toyota lineup. Serving the Santa Clarita Valley for over 30 years. Frontier Toyota, the Camry, Corolla, and Prius Kings. They're tops in Tacoma and Tundra trucks. Frontier Toyota, the new way of car buying. Shop from home at frontiertoyota.com or visit their showroom at Valencia and Creekside. Discover a whole new car buying experience with your friends at Frontier Toyota.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to announce my new product, My Slippers. They took me over 2 years to develop because I didn't want just an ordinary slipper. My Slippers are meant to be worn all day long, no matter what you're doing, whether you're inside or outside. My Slippers come with an exclusive 3-tier cushioning system that you won't find in any other slipper. It combines 2 layers of foam, including my proprietary My Pillow foam and a patented impact gel made from U.S. soybeans. My 3-tier cushioning system is going to help relieve pressure points, provide that micro support you need for all-day comfort, and help prevent fatigue. Not only that, My Slippers are made with high-quality leather and a premium indoor-outdoor sole that make them extremely durable. I personally guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable slippers you'll ever own.
Go to MyPillow.com to receive 40% off the My Slippers when you use the promo code KHTS. Or call 1-800-973-3927 and make sure to use the promo code KHTS.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need. And when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence, your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what's best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114 or visit resurgenceit.com.
Green Thumb International, your lawn and garden professionals, have the widest variety of shrubs, flowering plants, and garden supplies in the Santa Clarita Valley. Condition and fertilize your soil. Water does not easily penetrate clay soils and may pass too quickly beyond the root zone of plants in sandy soil. Adding organic matter to these soils will help correct imbalances and reduce water waste. On Newhall Avenue in Old Town Newhall near Sierra Highway, Green Thumb puts the green in your thumb.
You already know Salt Creek Grill has the best food in our valley. Well, now you can have Salt Creek's gourmet meals catered to your event.
I'm Greg Amsler, owner of Salt Creek Grill. I'd like to introduce you to a new level of catering, featuring our catering director, Tamara Levine.
Salt Creek Grill creates memorable experiences, which leaves our clients and guests with a sense of awe and excitement. From menu development to picturesque presentation, you'll enjoy culinary excellence and creative catering.
Salt Creek Grill, a new level of catering.
Accidents happen, but rest assured Patterson's Collision Center is here to help. Patterson's is a family-owned and operated collision repair facility providing the Santa Clarita Valley with premium collision repairs. Patterson's prides itself on being the only California-certified green repair shop in all of Santa Clarita. They are insurance claim specialists and even offer payment plans for your deductible. For personalized, friendly service, visit pattersonscollisioncenter.com. or call 294-1011 and let Patterson's Collision Center help ease your worries today.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVI and iLead Schools' Eye on the Valley. One more thanks to educational expert Renee Marshall for sharing all of her incredibly insightful thoughts on what's happening and what needs to happen in education as we move forward. Got just a couple of minutes this break, so let's take a look at what's going on or what went on this day in history. Well, just a couple of years ago, we're talking about 1184 BC, long time ago. According to Aristophanes, during the Trojan War, Troy was sacked today, June 11th, 1184 BC. Troy was sacked and burned during the Trojan War. Moving forward, about 2,900 years, in 1770, Captain James Hook discovers the Great Barrier Reef off of Australia. And in 1776, June 11th, 1776, you all know that year so well, Continental Congress created a committee to draft the Declaration of Independence with Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert Livingston as members of the drafting committee. You know what's interesting? The Founding Fathers made a commitment during the Continental Congress that no one would diary, no one would take notes, no one would write down anything. They knew they were being involved in seditious acts against Great Britain, and they wanted to make sure that nothing came out of those conversations. They wanted to present a unified front. Thankfully, John Adams violated that very strict rule that they had. Otherwise, we would know nothing about those proceedings that took place. John Adams wrote in his diary how he thought it was very important for history's sake that the world know what took place in that convention. June 11th, 1898, the first U.S. Marines land at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba during the Spanish-American War. June 11th, 1966, Janis Joplin played her first gig in San Francisco. June 11th, 1979, John Wayne passed away of respiratory failure due to complications from cancer. Rest in peace, Duke. You know, it's interesting. People laugh about Indiana Jones and you know, the fictitious character Indiana who was supposedly named after the family dog. You know, John Wayne, he was born, his birth name was Marion Morrison. His first movie credits were as Duke Morrison, named after the family dog. That's right. John Wayne's nickname, Duke, was named after the family dog. Rest in peace, Duke. June 11th, 1990, Nolan Ryan pitched his sixth no-hitter, beating the Oakland A's. In the ninth inning, he retired Ken Phelps, Ricky Henderson, and Willie Randolph, all ex-Yankees and amazing hitters. And June 11th, 2004, Ronald Reagan's funeral is held at Washington National Cathedral. Let's hear it for the Gipper. So that is this day in history. When we come back, as I said, we'll be talking to Dr. Omar Torres from COC. We'll ask him what's going on at College of the Canyons for next school year. So stay tuned. I am Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI, and I lead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.
No words can describe the power of belonging to a group of close friends or being part of a family. Insight Treatment Center was founded more than 20 years ago to give teenagers a community of friends and family as they overcome issues like depression, anxiety, and trauma. The new Santa Clarita location is a COVID-secure environment where distance and good airflow are a priority. As a leader in providing intensive outpatient treatment to teenagers, Insight Treatment Center in Santa Clarita is here to help. Call 888-295-9995 or go online to insighttreatment.com.
Consumers Furniture is back open for your business. The safety of our community and our staff, above all, is most important to us. We will provide a safe and clean environment for you to find the perfect piece of furniture for your home. To help you with your purchase, we are offering 25% off your entire order or 24 months same as cash financing. And for our awesome essential workers, we will deliver locally your furniture free of charge. Consumers Furniture is located in the Centerpoint Shopping Center, below Sam's Club and Walmart.
With the safe disposal of waste from our homes in the Santa Clarita Valley, Chiquita Canyon Landfill is able to create enough green energy to power 10,000 homes each year. So you can feel good that the waste from your home in the SCV is helping create a clean energy source and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Chiquita Canyon Landfill is our partner in sustainable living.
Chiquita Canyon is helping lead the way to a greener future.
When you look at your child, you see so much. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. A little leader growing to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make the world better. At SCVI, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free TK through 12 charter school provides boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a learning program customized just for your child. Today, that means empowering your child to bring strengths and passions to the distance learning environment. Our approach keeps your child and family in step while online, inspiring your learner to keep growing without missing a beat. At SCVI, your child will find even more ways to grow with projects and activities in STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. With the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, SCVI produces graduates who excel at top universities and in life. For enrollment information or to learn more about our distance learning program, visit ileadsantaclarita.org. iLead Schools. Free to think, inspired to lead.
Save water and save money. SCV Water wants to help you find your fit and take advantage of conservation rebate programs that will help you save. Water your landscape more efficiently. Replace your lawn with water-wise plants. Conduct free in-home water surveys. Cover your swimming pool and more. Find the programs that fit your needs and start saving today. Visit conserve.yourscvwater.com to learn more.
That's conserve.yourscvwater.com.
KHTS, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 9 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
This hasn't happened in over a year. Lisa Brady, Fox News. World leaders meeting in exchanging elbow bumps instead of handshakes at the G7 summit in Britain. Fox's Simon Owen is live in London.
Lisa, at the start of the G7 summit that's expected to be dominated by the coronavirus pandemic, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, as the host, said he, President Biden, and the other leaders around the table are on the same page when it comes to rebuilding economies.
We are united in our vision for a cleaner, greener world, a solution to the problems of climate change.
The group, made up of 7 rich democracies, is expected to agree on plans to send coronavirus vaccines to poorer countries, pledging to donate 1 billion doses. Lisa?
Thanks, Simon. 2 batches of the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine made at a plant in Baltimore have been cleared for use by the FDA, but others remain under review after problems with some materials there. AP reporting this means some 10 million doses can be released, but millions more will have to be thrown out. It's reopening day for Illinois.
Far removed from the days of threats of citations and arrests for going to beaches or church. It's a new day in Chicago as Illinois fully reopens with loosened coronavirus restrictions, no capacity limits on festivals and ball games. People are excited.
We couldn't do any of this stuff last summer. It's like, oh yeah, we can do this summer. We're ready for it.
I think there's a energy in the air that people are just sort of a buzz about.
Municipalities and businesses in Illinois can still require face coverings and social distancing, though other than schools and public transportation, people who've been fully vaccinated can now also ditch masks in Illinois as well.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. America is listening to Fox News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the course keeps changing right before your eyes. Whoa! And in order to maneuver it, you need an expert by your side. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the tech solutions you need to help you get out in front and stay ahead of the game. Whew. For advice on solutions like XPS 13 laptops powered by Intel Evo platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Facing intense backlash, a health insurance giant is putting off a new policy for emergency room visits.
Earlier this month, United Healthcare announced a new policy for its network hospitals in 34 states that would review emergency room visits to see if indeed they were emergencies, leaving patients on the hook for ER costs if United Healthcare said it wasn't one. The idea drew sharp criticism from the American Hospital Association and the American College of Emergency Physicians, who said the change might cause patients to avoid using the emergency room, putting their health at risk. Yesterday, United Healthcare said it would delay that policy until the end of the pandemic. It would have affected millions of commercially insured patients with employer-sponsored plans. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A loan forgiveness program for farmers of color is stopped by a federal judge after a lawsuit claiming discrimination against white farmers. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reporting that a temporary restraining order has been issued suspending the Biden administration program for socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers, which pays up to 120% of direct or guaranteed farm loan balances for Black, Native American, Hispanic, Asian American, or Pacific Islander farmers. The ruling puts the program on hold while the court fight continues. The finalists for a new NBA award are announced.
Prior to Game 4 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals, the league will announce the winner of its inaugural Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Champion Award. Today, the NBA announced the 5 finalists, each guaranteed a $25,000 prize to donate to a charity selected by each player. The 5 finalists: Carmelo Anthony of the Trailblazers, Harrison Barnes of the Kings, the Bucks' Drew Holiday, from the 76ers Tobias Harris, and Juan Toscano Anderson of the Warriors. The winner will receive $100,000 total to donate to charity.
Fox's Jared Max. The NBA says that award recognizes a player for pursuing social justice and equality. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Americans are feeling better about the economy this month. The University of Michigan reading of consumer sentiment rose to 86.4 in early June, an improvement from May. Though higher prices remain a concern, those surveyed believe the rate of inflation likely declined this month. Stocks turned mixed after opening higher. If the S&P 500 closes with a gain, it will be another record. McDonald's shares are higher, even though the company says it was breached by hackers in the U.S., South Korea, and Taiwan. It says consumer information in the U.S. was not hacked. And Boeing says demand is returning for its 737 MAX jets now that domestic air travel has been picking up. United Airlines and Alaska Air Group have purchased unclaimed MAX planes. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Need the perfect Father's Day gift? Get him a shirt from Untuck It. Untuck It shirts are designed to be worn untucked, so they feel comfortable and look sharp all day. They also come in sizes and fits for every body, so you can easily find something in his size. This Father's Day, find the perfect present for Dad at untuckit.com or one of 80-plus Untuck It stores nationwide. Use code DAD20 for 20% off your first purchase. Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260 CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
There are times when nothing else will do because you know exactly what you want. You want the Alamo, the taste of true Mexican cooking at its best. At Alamo, you're treated to a taste that is truly Mexican with an atmosphere to match. Enjoy a Cadillac margarita, try a mucho burrito, or sizzling fajitas. Voted the best Mexican food in the SCV and a favorite of former supervisor Mike Antonovich. Alamo Rotisserie in Granary Square, serving Santa Clarita for over 30 years.
You worry because your mom and dad aren't as active and are finding it more challenging to live on their own. The answer? Premier Assisted Living Community, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, now leasing. Located on Newhall Ranch Road, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, bringing comfort and luxury to assisted living. Your parents can enjoy 5-star amenities and panoramic views in a world-class community. No other assisted living community has this kind of luxury and amenities in our valley. Visit oakmontofsantaclarita.com.
Summer is here. Why not cool off with a new Dunkin' Refresher? Choose from lemonade, green tea, or coconut milk with strawberry, peach, or blueberry flavor. Limited time offer, only $3 for a medium-sized drink. Dunkin' also has new all-day sandwiches and new donut varieties. Order ahead with the Dunkin' app and accumulate points. Located on Bouquet Canyon in the Lowe's Shopping Center and on Sierra Highway in Canyon Country, both with curbside pickup, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, and Postmates. Or use the drive-thru at Sierra Highway. Santa Clarita runs on Dunkin'.
Moms, dads, this is Cardin Ellis, owner of Unipest. If your house has ants, spiders, or gophers, or you want a free orange oil termite inspection, you have to call Unipest Termite and Pest Control, Santa Clarita's only factory-certified orange oil pest control company. We specialize in organic, low-impact, and traditional pest control options that are all kid-friendly, pet-friendly, and affordable with no contracts, and we're SCV owned and operated. Call us at 661-BUG-7575 or visit unipest.com.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Another nice day, a little bit warmer than yesterday. We're looking at sunny skies with highs in the 80s, overnight lows in the 50s. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
When your father texts you to ask what time your brother is going to be on the radio. We've been here all morning, Pop. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host. That's right, I'm Tony's brother. You're listening to SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley.
Ouch.
My next guest is Dr. Omar Torres from College of the Canyons. Dr. Torres has worked at COC since 2010, where he first began as the Dean of Mathematics, Sciences, and Engineering. He later also assumed additional responsibilities over the Division of Health Professions and Public Safety, and he now serves the college as Assistant Superintendent and Vice President of Instruction. Dr. Torres did his undergrad work at Texas A&M. Hook 'em horns! And he got his master's in chemistry from UCLA. Go Bruins! He also holds a doctorate in organizational leadership from the University of Laverne. Dr. Torres, welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Good morning, Matt. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. Quite well. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So first off, I've got a curveball for you. We mentioned your two mascots, the well-known Longhorns of Texas A&M and the Bruins of UCLA. A little bit more obscure. Do you know the mascot of the University of Laverne?
You know, I should, and I don't, but I'm caught up on Texas A&M because actually you're thinking of the University of Texas at Austin.
You're right.
They are the Longhorns. At A&M, we are actually the
Aggies. Yeah.
Ironically, my father went to UT, and so that was always the family dynamic there between having a tea sipper and an Aggie. In the same room at the same time, talking about the same things. Always interesting. So just wanted to clarify that.
I'm ashamed of myself, and you know what? Joked about my big brother. He's going to be ashamed of me when he comes on the air as well. But actually,
we still love you, Matt. So don't worry about it. And then as for Laverne, I believe they're the Leopards.
They are the Leopards. Leo and Leah, the Leopards. Yeah. Yeah,
good.
Very good. All righty, surprised you there with a curveball. All right, so Dr. Torres, I wanted to ask you about you before we get into the programming and the direction of COC, because you have what can be really described as an ascent at COC, and it's been kind of meteoric. I think you've actually even changed titles a couple of times since we last spoke to you. I worked with you on a project in those early days, and I know you're a phenomenal educator. Can you chronicle your path at COC for us? What did you do before you came to the college, and what all have you done for the college in your tenure now?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Well, first, I really credit the opportunities that I've had here at the college to our chancellor, Dr. Van Hook, and to the Board of Trustees. We just have amazing leadership. As you probably know, our current board president, Dr. Adele Alonzo, was a faculty member, and prior to retirement, and now serving as president of the board. And similar to her and Dr. Van Hook, who also came from the community college ranks, I had the privilege of serving as a faculty member, a tenured faculty member for many years. I started my career after graduate school working full-time at Moorpark College in the chemistry and earth sciences department. And really, a lot of those experiences in that role, both as a faculty member participating across governance and across the entire district framework, and later serving as a department chair where you really get a little bit of a glimpse into administration. You're still involved with students, with faculty and staff, and of course teaching, which is critical and most important in what we do. But you get exposures and opportunities to other aspects of working within the framework of the district. And so a lot of that background is ultimately, and my mother, God bless her, she retired as a principal a few years ago. in Texas, and education has always been something very near and dear to our hearts, and I like to say it runs in the family. So with all of that and experiences and more, I believe that my calling was to ultimately work in higher education as an administrator. I'm fortunate that I still teach from time to time. Right now, most of that's been online or online synchronous work. But I really attribute my training and my growth as a faculty member and working with students in the classroom and engaging with the community as fundamental to helping me ascend in the various roles that I've served here at College of the Canyons up to present day.
Well, you talk about engaging in the community. You've always had such a tremendous vision. Dr. Torres, I don't know if you remember it, but I remember, gosh, it was probably almost 10 years ago now that you and I worked together on a project out at SCVI that you had rolled out to a variety of the elementary schools here in the Valley, where you had some of your science students coming in and teaching concepts of science to my fifth graders at SCVI. And it was such an amazing program that you guys put together. Our kids still remember that stuff as they're now graduated and moving on to college themselves. So we appreciate the vision that you've helped roll out here in our community.
Thank you.
Now, I know, like every other campus, you guys had to go remote. You mentioned you guys have been doing a lot of remote teaching in 2020, 2021. So as you look back now, I'm hoping that we're turning the corner and you're going to have good news for your students here in just a couple minutes. But how would you assess how things went as you look back over the last year and a half?
No, that's a great question, Matt. You know, it really has been an incredible opportunity, and I say that because there were things that we as a college I don't think ever fully realized or even actualized until we were forced to by the pandemic. And, you know, simple things that, such as even communicating through, you know, paperwork and signing off on things, and how we converted to making sure that everything was done electronically, how that translated into evaluations and soliciting feedback from students and utilizing technology and course shells to survey students and to communicate with students and to essentially garner feedback from students, whether it was with respect to campus processes, assessing their needs, evaluating instructors. A lot of opportunities and growth, I believe, came out of this pandemic. And then, of course, from the standpoint of the classroom and instruction, which I believe is the most important thing we do here at the college, we were able to really work with our academic senate, with our faculty, with our staff, with our administrators, with support from the chancellor and the board, to really direct and redirect funding sources available to us, whether from the state, locally, from the federal government, through the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, to ensure that we were exploring any and all opportunities to enhance the classroom environment for students utilizing technology, given the limitations that the pandemic imposed upon all of us. So it's been an incredible year where the last 15 or 16 or so months we've really grown as a college. And I'll tell you, Matt, what's fascinating to me is, and I was reminded of this last night, we were at a celebration that, you know, even before the pandemic began back around March of 2019, our community had faced several challenges leading up to that. Even in the 1920 year, I can recall that late fall semester, around October and onward, where we had a couple of fires, including the tick fire, that had an impact on, you know, the college and our early childhood education center at the Canyon Country campus. And then, of course, we had that unfortunate incident that we shared with the Hart District, working with Saugus High School, which, you know, was very hard on our community and certainly on the Saugus High School community. And, of course, College of the Canyons, we actually were running a couple of dual enrollment classes that morning when the incident occurred. And so it's been longer. It's been about a year and a half where I believe that we've all been challenged. We have struggled. But I'm happy to see that this community and your community college district has risen above those challenges in service to our students, to our community, and working and partnering with our faculty and staff, our administrators, our chancellor, and our board to really create lemonade out of some of the lemons that we've been dealt with over the past year and a half.
Yeah, as is sometimes the case, the worst of times can bring out the best in us. And so I'm glad to hear that you're seeing the same thing over at COC. So now I got to ask you what folks are wondering right now as we're heading toward the fall. Some colleges are talking about, bringing kids on campus or bringing students on campus partially. Some schools are still holding off. So what percentage of instruction will be in person on campus at COC in the fall of 2021?
Yeah. We have been live with our schedule of classes as of mid-May, which is a little earlier than we have done in the past, and I'm sure we'll get into more of that later. But the bottom line is this, to go directly to your question, and that is right now we have about 30% of our offerings that will be in face-to-face for the fall semester. And I say right now, Matt, because that percentage will continue to increase. Typically what happens is once the fall semester begins, and especially during those first 2 critical weeks where students are vying to get into classes, we see where there is identified demand based on wait lists. Typically what we do every fall, and in fact in the 10 or 11 years I've been here, there's never been an exception to this. We have always added additional classes that are usually what we call late start classes later in the semester to address the need based on the wait list and based on what the students are telling us that they need to complete their educational journey here at the college. So right now we're at 30%. I believe that we will be even higher than that later in the fall semester, perhaps even as high as 35, maybe even 40%.
Well, I love to hear the student focus, right? Because, Renee Marshall and I were talking during the commercial break. Oftentimes, school decisions are made with adult priorities in place, and we need to get the focus back on the students. It's hard. It would be so much easier for you guys to just say, these classes are face-to-face, these ones are not, end of story. But you guys are focusing on the needs of your students, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So what I hear you saying is that there might be an opportunity for additional in-person classes that may be added to the schedule for the fall. So I may sign up for a class that's currently scheduled for online, but that may become an in-person class. Is that what you're saying?
Well, sort of. What we do is we really, once we go live with the schedule, we don't want to inconvenience our students or our community by, making decisions on enrollments without having, actual data, based on wait lists and whatnot. So what we've got currently published in our electronic schedule of classes, which again has been available to students and for the community since about mid-May, that is not going to change in the sense that is our intent to offer those, I'll call them core classes.
I see.
Based on how the core classes fill, if they're, for example, let's say that we have certain face-to-face classes and we see that those completely fill up and we want to be able to add additional face-to-face, well, then we'll look at doing that further down the road if, in fact, there's an identified need. The fact that we're currently in registration, and registration, of course, will continue to commence throughout the duration of the summer. And again, as we close in on the start of the fall semester on August 23rd, then we'll really reassess and reevaluate where there's additional need. We typically might add some classes throughout the summer as we see that certain classes fill with a wait list. But many times, a lot of those decisions to add additional classes will commence at the start of the term, at the start of the fall semester. And so what I don't want to do, and I think what would be unfair to students, is to look at the current schedule, decide, what, we're going to cancel this class, we're going to make it something else.
I see.
Not to do that, because we really want to make sure that there is authenticity and integrity with the schedule of classes as it is published once students commence with their registration.
That certainly makes sense. You wouldn't want to have people set schedules for work, childcare, things like that, and then shake them up mid-semester.
That's exactly right.
So can you give us some specifics about which classes that we're talking about? Now, I don't want to ask you to read through the schedule. That's not great radio. But can you maybe highlight for us which classes we might find being in person during the fall?
Sure. Well, how about this, Matt? I'll give you some of the disciplines. We've got several disciplines, especially for those that are listening, that if you're interested in these disciplines and you feel like perhaps online or online live, as we call it, which is synchronous online instruction, may not work for you, then certainly there are face-to-face offerings at the Valencia and the Canyon Country campus that will be available to our students and to our community in disciplines such as administration of justice, anthropology, architecture and interior design, art, astronomy, automotive technology, biology, business, computer applications and web technologies, chemistry, Chinese, cinema, communication studies, culinary arts, early childhood education, some of our education classes, English, engineering, ESL, French, geology, German, general studies classes, history, health science, our athletics, our kinesiology, physical education classes will be in person. We're also going to offer some select math courses on campus, media, entertainment, arts, manufacturing, some of our career education programs like our medical laboratory technician program and our nursing program, our water systems technology, as well as our welding programs will also be face-to-face through the labs and through some selective offerings. Several of our non-credit classes, such as non-credit ESL, our basic skills classes, philosophy, photography, political science, sociology, Spanish. Those are the majority of the disciplines that we will be offering some select courses in a face-to-face manner for the fall semester.
Dr. Torres, you said 30%. That's an incredible offering. You're still offering a tremendous amount of classes that are going to be face-to-face this semester. So you also talked about, so you've got the face-to-face classes. You said you've got the, what did you call it, live online or online live?
Yeah, that's a new terminology that we came up with based on input from our student government and our students. When we first transitioned, Matt, to what I call the pandemic schedule back in, we had to make adjustments mid-semester during the spring 2019 semester, and then when we planned for summer and fall of 2019 going into 2020, or 2020, yeah, that's right. What happened there was when we initially made some changes to how we were creating identifiers for students with respect to which classes were online versus which classes might be synchronous, some of that terminology, which is very common in academia, but as we were trying to make it easy for our students, we just realized that some of the ways in which we were communicating using more, I'll call it academic speak, didn't necessarily make sense to our students. And so we realized we wanted to come up with some sort of branding, and through proper marketing with our public information office, whom did an amazing job in helping us really work through how we were going to brand this new way of offering classes for students and for the community through an online synchronous manner. We came up with the term in concert with our academic senate. We came up with the term online live.
I love it.
And of course, we had a focus group of students from our Associated Student Government whom we consulted with, and they said to us, gosh, that makes perfect sense. I think that will be much clearer for students. And alas, that's where the term online live was born, and that's the term that we've been using ever since for some of our online classes that are offered in a synchronous manner, where a particular student, a community member enrolled in the class, let's say the class is offered Monday, Wednesday from 8 to 9:30, 9:20, they have to be online at that time through their course shell, through their Zoom account, and the instructor is providing instruction during that specific time on those respective days. And so we've had to make some adjustments in how we have communicated and how we have scheduled courses to really provide the flexibility that our students need, especially given the challenges of the pandemic, childcare, jobs, family members that may have had COVID, and just, providing as much flexibility as possible for students to ensure that they could continue and they could persist through their education during this unprecedented time in our global history.
Yeah, and again, I love the branding switch to make it just more student friendly, more user friendly. That's a great thing that you guys are doing, keeping it student focused. We're talking this morning to Dr. Omar Torres, Assistant Superintendent and Vice President of Instruction at College of the Canyons. When we get back, we'll talk registration deadlines and some more specifics on their in-person classes for next school year. You're listening to SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Are you looking for educational flexibility and choice? Look no further than your front door. iLead Exploration's independent study program is passionate about personalized learning. Our mission is to inspire learners to become creative problem solvers, compassionate leaders, conscientious collaborators, and responsible citizens who develop a lifelong love of learning. Our families partner with a credentialed teacher to customize each child's educational path. Families access community partners to choose a variety of in-person, online, and at-home options to create an optimal learning environment for each learner. Our program also values community, and through a variety of field studies, service projects, park days, and family gatherings, we provide many opportunities to foster friendships. Because there are currently in-person limitations due to COVID, we are offering activities online through webinars and virtual field trips. iLead Exploration is a tuition-free, independent study charter school program serving grades TK through 12 in Los Angeles, Orange, Kern, San Bernardino, and Ventura counties. To learn more about our program, visit iLeadExploration.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
No words can describe the power of belonging to a group of close friends or being part of a family. Insight Treatment Center was founded more than 20 years ago to give teenagers a community of friends and family as they overcome issues like depression, anxiety, and trauma. The new Santa Clarita location is a COVID-secure environment where distance and good airflow are a priority. As a leader in providing intensive outpatient treatment to teenagers, Insight Treatment Center in Santa Clarita is here to help. Call 888-295-9995 or go online to insighttreatment.com.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and I am joined this morning by Dr. Omar Torres, Assistant Superintendent and Vice President of Instruction at College of the Canyons. So excited to hear how many classes are going to be offered face-to-face in the fall semester. Now, Dr. Torres, I hear that you guys have changed the fall registration date this year. You moved it up a bit. Can you explain to me what it is that you guys are looking to accomplish? Why did the college shift its fall student registration timeline from the midsummer to late May?
Sure. Part of that, Matt, was the feedback that we were receiving from students as well as from some of the faculty. As part of our enrollment management efforts, trying to make sure that we are allowing for classes to run that have a, more or less a full class, or the capacity is such that it lends itself to having a sufficient number of students in a classroom to create and cultivate a learning environment that is conducive to the success of our students. And part of the concern was when we had such a late registration, as we've done in years past, where fall registration would begin in mid-July, sometimes decisions about class cancellations and adding additional classes, as we discussed earlier in the show, we weren't able to make those decisions in a way that afforded us the luxury to really fully communicate out to students and to the community, hey, looking at these enrollments and wait lists and whatnot, we've created a new section. Let's redirect you to some of these open classes. And sometimes we were just scrambling to get a lot of that work done and communicate it out, and then getting the students into their rightful classes. And so when we started looking at where we were at the time, and keep in mind, we started our fall schedule production sometime during the months of January, February, March, when we were still in the purple tier and transitioning to the red tier. We didn't know what the situation was going to be like, but we realized that we wanted to create as many different opportunities for students. And so part of the concerted effort was to really move registration up sooner so that it allows for a couple of goals to be accomplished. First, it gives students an opportunity to solidify their position and their place in a class earlier rather than later so that they can plan accordingly for their lives and childcare and their jobs. And, in this case, as we're transitioning out of the pandemic, hopefully, knock on wood, adjustments that may need to be made can be done so with a knowledge that, yes, I am registered, I have solidified this spot in this particular class. Now I can plan my work and my world around the fact that these classes, I'm registered for them now. That was number one. Number two, we wanted to make sure that we weren't, because several other districts start allowing for, and I'm talking community college districts, allow for their students to register sooner. And there was a niche there that perhaps we were missing, because we certainly welcome serving as many different students as possible. And we wanted to make sure that we had and provided access for those students to our classes so that we weren't unnecessarily losing those students to other districts because of the concern that they may or may not get their classes. And so it really has been a collaborative effort overall to really provide opportunities to engage in and access our courses. And the last thing I'll add, Matt, is that as a result of starting sooner, we really get to monitor, because students will have the opportunity to register for classes between, we started on late May 24th, continue all the way through the summer, let the dust settle, see where there's demand for certain classes, see where there may be some low-enrolled classes. Perhaps we repurpose those at different times in different modalities. It just allows for an overall seamless analyses of our existing schedule with students enrolled sooner rather than later, so that we can make better, more informed decisions about our enrollment management as we move forward in our collective desire to best serve the needs of our students. So it was, people have asked me, gosh, how did you decide to do this in the middle of a pandemic? And I have to credit our chancellor and credit the visionary leadership and support of the board, because it was really an opportunity to make sure that we're doing, again, what is best for students, to provide them with those options sooner rather than later. Students are tired. They are frustrated. This pandemic has been very taxing on everyone, and we really wanted to provide that glimmer, that light at the end of the dark tunnel sooner rather than later, so that we could carry on with what the new normal is going to be for students, for the college community, and for society in general.
Well, it sounds like a win-win, and you talk about the new normal. Is this going to be the new normal? Is this a permanent shift moving forward?
Yes. We will now be engaged in allowing for student registration to occur earlier or sooner than it has in prior years, starting with this fall semester, as we have described already, together, and this will be ongoing. And I'm also very encouraged, because as a result of, we talked about it in the last section, some of the lessons learned as a result of the pandemic, where, new modalities and new machinations of what we're doing, like online live, or offering, high flex classes where you've got a combination of online live synchronous instruction occurring as well. So you've got students on the computer screen and you've got students physically in the classroom in person all at the same time. So when we think about online live and high flex, and we've also developed correspondence education in what we're offering our incarcerated inmate education student at Pitch's Detention Center, a lot of new opportunities have arisen as a result of this pandemic that will continue post-pandemic based on the needs of the students whom we serve.
Gosh, it sounds like, whatever my situation may be, you guys have got a full battery of classes that can meet my schedule and meet my needs.
That is our hope. Absolutely.
That sounds great. So looking at the schedule for this fall, how will it be different from prior fall semesters?
Yeah, it really goes back, Matt, to some of those, the nomenclature that I mentioned a moment ago. We're definitely diversifying our portfolio of offerings in terms of the various modalities that we have within instruction. So, in the past, prior to the pandemic, we typically had, of course, in person, we had online, and then on occasion we may have a hybrid class, which was partially online and partially face-to-face. And we had some, peppered offerings of high flex, but not very much.
Yeah.
Post-pandemic and looking to this fall 2021 and beyond, we're now, in addition to everything I just mentioned, we're also going to now have more high flex offerings. We're going to have the online live or the synchronous instruction scheduled at certain days and certain times, but in an online setting. We're going to continue to enhance the number of online offerings as well as hybrid offerings that we've been engaged in prior to the pandemic. We're also going to see more correspondence education. And then where there's demand, we're going to transition to offering progressively more and more in-person class offerings as well. So it's really going to be this diverse set of different modalities or offerings to meet the needs of students, to meet them where they are, and really to honor the lessons learned not only by the college and by the faculty and the staff here in terms of these various permutations that we now have in place, but also the students. As we look at the different students that we offer, from our Generation Z student, which tends to be more technologically savvy and tends to favor having more short-term offerings as opposed to, certainly when I was in school, I was used to a full semester length, full 16, 18 weeks.
Sure.
Staying in certain classes. We're still offering some of that, Matt, but we're moving away from that, and we're in the sense that we're also diversifying the offerings by making more short-term opportunities and really tailoring to the needs of students, the workforce training, where there's a need for the college to step up and provide quick, state-of-the-art training so that we can get workers into the jobs, into the fields that they need. And so we're really striving to diversify what we do, how we do it, to best serve students, to serve the community, and to serve the workforce. So it's going to be a brave new world as we transition into fall 2021 and beyond.
And I love seeing how open you guys are to meeting the needs of what students need today. Now, you mentioned, and we're so happy to hear, you guys are going to start with about 30% face-to-face classes, and that'll grow to maybe 35-40% for the fall. But then as we look forward to the spring, do you think that's going to continue to expand as far as the in-person offerings for students?
Absolutely. And in fact, I believe that, prior to the pandemic, we had about a 70-30 split, Matt. And so 70% of our classes, again, pre-pandemic, were in person, and 30% were a combination of online, hybrid, and high flex. I believe that by the time we get to spring of 2022, the new normal for College of the Canyons is going to be about a 60-40 split. And it may be, 60-65%, 35% to 40% split. And that's going to be 60 to 65% of the classes will be will be in person, and then the remaining 35% or say 40%, those will be either online, online live, online hybrid, high flex, correspondence, etc.
Wow, it's amazing how flexible you guys are going to be. Our community is so fortunate to have COC and all of the different programs that you guys run. Like you said, trying to meet the needs of everything that our community members need. And COC is fortunate to have you, Dr. Torres. We really appreciate your time this morning. I know you've got a meeting that you've got to head off to, but thank you so much for joining us today.
Matt, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure, and appreciate all your support of the college and our community.
Of course. You have a wonderful weekend, sir.
You do as well.
I will. This is SCVI and iLead Schools, Eye on the Valley. I'm your host, Matt Watson. We will be right back with Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. You are listening to your hometown station, KHTS.
If you need help at home or at the office, call Made For You. Made For You is a locally owned, bonded, and licensed cleaning service with over 20 years of experience. All employees are vetted for your protection. No need to buy products or equipment. The Made For You staff comes complete with everything needed to make your home or office cleaner than ever. Hire Made For You one time, as needed, or an ongoing basis. No room is off limits. Laundry and ironing services are also available. Call Made For You for a free estimate. 255-2922. That's 255-2922.
Excellence isn't just a word, it is what we deliver. Vanguard Protection Group is committed to providing its clients with the highest echelon of protective services available. Our clients not only receive the security services they contract for, but also reports that are well-written, articulate, and thorough. Our patrol officers operate at the highest levels and have an impressive rapport with local law enforcement. With military, police, private policing, and courtroom experience, you can trust that we have the strength to deliver our promise of excellence. Contact Vanguard Protection by calling 661-753-3611 or visiting their website at vanguardprotectiongroup.com.
Join the Canyon Theater Guild for in-person workshops for children up to 17 years old this summer. Kids become their favorite fairy tale characters in Character Matters: Return of the Fairy Tale Advice Council. Juniors take to the high seas in Dave the Brave and the Pirateers, facing crocodiles, sirens, and the notorious pirate Lady Legs. Be our guest with the stars and Disney's Beauty and the Beast Jr. Call 661-799-2702 or visit canyontheater.org.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. And this segment, actually this entire hour, is being brought to you by our friends in the community. We're talking about College of the Canyons and United Site Services. You know, I mentioned early in the show that tonight, SCVI is going to be celebrating their high school graduation. It's actually going to be a very special graduation. We're graduating a few of our learners who have been with our school from kindergarten through 12th grade. Imagine going to the same school from kindergarten through 12th grade. And we were set to graduate out at Castaic Lake, but just a couple of weeks ago, the county canceled all school events in county parks. And boy, did that leave our team really scrambling. But the folks at COC stepped up and said, absolutely, we'd love to have you for it. Come out and graduate at Cougar Stadium. And, we got it for an absolute song. They were really, really good with us. They said the only thing you need to do is make sure that you provide your own facilities. We're talking about bathroom breaks and things like that. And the folks at United Site Services really stepped up and took good care of us, and so we're so thankful for our friends at COC and United Site Services. But enough of that. This morning, we are ready for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. We've got engineer Andrew in the house.
Hello.
Hey, we've also got Big T joining us. Big T, you know him. He's a longtime resident and leader in the Santa Clarita Valley. He's an executive, a philanthropist, the quintessential family man, and community leader. And for Big T, Junebug was the dance that he used to impress his classmates at prom. He is Mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Maddie. How are you?
Doing great. We got Patty here. We got engineer Andrew here. We are ready to go.
Awesome. Hey, we're going back to some straight old school, just some straight trivia. No quotes, no movie titles.
No college mascots, because apparently I'm really bad at that.
Yeah. Let me just say the one thing, and I know he's listening, but Matt, the worst thing that either one of us can hear growing up was from mom or dad to say, I'm disappointed in you. Now, I heard it more than you did, but Matt, I'm disappointed in you.
I know you are, Tony.
I heard it more between me and my sister. I heard it more, too.
Oh, man.
Are we ready?
Hook 'em Aggies. Go for it.
All righty. Which country consumes the most chocolate per capita?
Frogger. Italy.
Incorrect.
Andrew, Holland?
Incorrect. Both
Patty.
guesses.
Patty, Switzerland?
Switzerland is correct.
Oh, that's a good guess.
Wow, go Patty.
Ooh, let's go.
What do you call Indian food cooked over charcoal in a clay oven?
Delicious?
You know what? Andrew gets the point for that.
Hey, all right. What's it called, Big
Anyone?
T?
No, I got nothing.
Tandoori.
Oh, okay, there we go. Makes sense.
What was the first soft drink consumed in space?
Frogger.
Frogger.
I'm going tab.
No, it's not that hard.
Andrew, Coke?
Andrew, Coca-Cola is correct. True or false?
Patty.
Hockey is the most. I got Frogger first, then Patty.
I'm going true.
That is incorrect.
Patty says false.
Patty says false.
Let's
Coffee
go.
Is the most consumed manufactured drink in the world is false. It is actually tea. What is the mascot of Texas A&M?
Frogger. They're the Aggies.
Did Andrew beat you?
Nope.
Okay. No.
They're the Aggies.
Aggies? Perfect. What do the co-eds at Texas A&M do after a touchdown?
Frogger.
Frogger.
They cheer.
No.
They don't cheer after a touchdown? That's really, really odd.
That's odd.
All right, go for it, gentlemen.
Andrew, it's either, I was going to give you two, push-ups or shoot the cannon.
Neither one.
Oh.
They actually kiss.
Oh.
Oh.
All right.
Got to get me to a game.
All right.
What does A&M stand for?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Agriculture and mechanics.
That is correct. Agriculture and mechanical. What's the only edible food that never goes bad?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Honey.
Honey's correct.
Oh, I'm in the lead.
Which country invented ice cream?
Andrew, United States.
Incorrect.
Ooh.
Although we're probably the leading consumers, right?
Right?
Yeah.
I do my job.
Patty.
Patty.
France?
Incorrect. They make just about everything else.
Right?
Frogger. China.
China is correct.
Oh.
Huh. Interesting.
Hendrix, Larios, and Seagrams are all brands of which spirit?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Gin.
Gin is correct.
Oh, I see.
What was the first toy to be advertised on television?
Andrew. Was
Andrew.
it the hula hoop?
Incorrect.
Ooh. Okay, you got to back up guess.
Personality.
Frogger. I'm going to go with Slinky.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
Patty, I'm going to say a paddleboard?
Okay, was it Potato Head?
The little...
Mr. Potato Head.
Oh.
You know what? I'm giving you a point for that one.
In 2021, what became the first gender-neutral animated personality toy?
Frogger.
Frogger.
You're off on the year. It was 1956, and it was the Ken doll.
I get you. I see what
right.
No.
Andrew, was it the etch one where you can mess with? I forgot what it's called.
That's the Etch-a-Sketch, but that didn't have a personality before
Oh, Patty.
it became gender neutral.
Patty, was it Potato Head?
Potato Head is correct.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Potato Head was
I
the correct answer
remember.
for 2 questions.
I remember.
What TV series showed the first interracial kiss on American television?
Oh, Patty.
Oh.
That was Star Trek.
Frogger.
Star Trek is correct.
Oh.
Star Trek is correct.
It wasn't I Love Lucy? Ricky never kissed her?
You got some explaining to do, Lucy.
How could he kiss her? They were sleeping in separate beds.
That's true. That's
Bingo.
a good point. So where did little Ricky come from?
The stork.
Okay.
From the store. True or false?
Frogger.
Patty.
The word vomit. Frogger.
True.
It is true. The word vomit was invented by William Shakespeare.
All right.
How long is New Zealand's 90-mile beach?
Frogger.
Wait.
Frogger.
Wait.
89 miles.
Incorrect.
Patty.
Don't.
Patty.
Incorrect, Patty. It's not 90.
No, okay. I didn't even guess, but he knew it.
Andrew, what do you got?
I'll go with 45. Let's go half.
Andrew gets it because he was the closest. It's 55 miles.
I never even said a word.
What is measured in Mickeys?
Frogger.
Frogger.
The diameter of the mouth of your bottle of beer.
Patty.
Patty.
Disney. Guess Mickey Mouse.
No guess.
Andrew, you got anything?
No guess.
It's the speed of your computer mouse.
Huh.
Wow.
Oh, Mickey Mouse.
Everything's quite as something.
Every day.
Okay, that's that engineer needs to be beat up. That's dumb.
What famous U.S. festival hosted over 350,000 fans in 1969?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Woodstock.
That is correct.
Bam.
Which is the only NFL team to go undefeated, including in the Super
Patty.
Bowl?
Frogger.
Patty first.
That was the Miami Dolphins, of course.
Correct. You got the year?
Frogger.
I don't remember. It was in the 70s, I know. I don't know the exact year. It's
1973.
I was going to say 74.
Incorrect, Andrew?
No.
Shut up. It was 73.
I would say 74.
72.
73.
Oh, they won the Super Bowl in 73.
They won the Super Bowl in 73 because it was in January. Who was their coach?
Frogger.
I know this one.
Dandy Don Shula.
Yes.
That's correct. Who was their starting quarterback?
Frogger.
Frogger.
I don't remember.
Don Meredith?
Incorrect.
No. Well, it wasn't
Got me on that.
It wasn't Marino. He never won one.
He had a son that played quarterback at Michigan when Tom Brady was there.
Yep.
Ooh,
Nope.
threw you for a loop. It was Bob Greasy.
Bob Greasy, that's right.
Oh.
That's right.
Bob Greasy's son Brian played at Michigan.
Yep. People are screaming at the radio.
What is the biggest selling music single of all time? I can give you some hints. You want the year and you want the artist?
Oh, no, let's go year first.
Yeah, start with the year.
1997.
Oh, 97.
Frogger. Mbop.
Frogger.
The Mbop.
Correct.
Oh, my God.
Is it really?
Oh, my God.
No.
Okay, is it My Heart Will Go On?
Incorrect.
Oh.
Famous pop singer singing about a famous actress.
Frogger.
Oh, wait.
Frogger.
Candle in the Wind.
That is correct.
No, then I was completely off. I was thinking something else.
Which former NBA player was nicknamed Agent Zero?
Oof. Man, you coming with good ones today.
He is.
Yeah.
Even I'm thinking on this one.
Gilbert Arenas.
Oh, No Chill Gil.
That's right.
No Chill Gil. Who has more Grand Slam titles, Venus or Serena?
Frogger. Serena.
Serena's correct.
Yep.
It was either that or false.
This is true.
What's the name of the NFL team that plays in Toronto?
Frogger.
Or the NHL team, excuse me.
I was like, wait. I'm like, what?
All right.
Threw me
Let's
for a
go with
loop.
the Maple Leafs.
Maple Leafs is correct. What awards have you been awarded if you're an EGOT?
Andrew.
EGOT. Andrew.
Emmy, Grammy, Tony, and Oscar.
Nice.
Outstanding. Good. What's a duel between three people called?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Be a Mexican standoff.
No.
No?
What? What?
No.
I.
Official word is a truel.
A truel.
A truel.
It's a Mexican standoff.
That's a falsel.
Yeah.
In the state of Georgia, it is illegal to eat what with a fork?
Frogger.
Frogger.
A peach.
Incorrect. Main entree.
Snickers bar.
That's not an entree.
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
Huh.
Fried chicken.
Why are they so uppity?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who was the first gymnast to score a perfect 10?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Nadia Comaneci.
That is correct. How many colors are there in a rainbow?
Frogger.
Oh,
Frogger.
7.
7 is correct.
Roy G. Biv.
What's the loudest animal on Earth?
Frogger.
Frogger.
No, that was my answer. Frogger.
No.
This guy.
No, it's clearly me. I'm loud.
I thank goodness nobody said my mother-in-law. Not mine specifically.
Yeah.
Yours.
Let's go Howler Monkey.
Me?
Incorrect.
Patty says a dog? I don't know.
Just stop playing.
Okay.
It's a sperm whale.
Oh.
Emily knew it.
Just buzz in anytime, Emily.
How many hearts does an octopus have?
Frogger.
Frogger.
4.
Incorrect.
Patty.
Ew.
Patty.
8.
Yes.
Incorrect.
Oh. I knew it was wrong, but still. Would have made sense.
Oh, I'm going 7. Let's go there.
Incorrect. It has 3.
3.
True or false?
Patty.
The unicorn. Patty.
This is true.
Frogger.
It is true. The unicorn is the national animal of Scotland.
Let's go.
Okay.
How many legs does a spider have?
Patty.
I heard Frog go first and then Patty.
That is 8, and unfortunately, that is all the time we have today.
Uh-huh.
I took you, boys. I took you again today. We got to wrap, Big T. Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it. We also want to thank educational expert Renee Marshall, Assistant Superintendent and Vice President of Instruction at COC, Dr. Omar Torres. Big T, thank you very much. Producer Sarah, Engineer Patty, Engineer Andrew, Engineer Emily, and thank you for listening. Stick around for Phil Nardella. Join us again next weekend, every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVI and iLead Schools, Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.